Hello everyone and welcome to our today's meditation session. Today we are going to talk and meditate on a very special, relatively rare meditation technique, which is called 5 sacred claps, claps with hands. And as you know, clapping with hands is a very old, innate way of expressing reverence, liking of something, deep reverence, respect for something. But it's not only this. Claps or clapping with hands is also sacred in many religious traditions around the world. One can find sacred claps or clapping with hands in Japanese religions, and one can also find claps or clapping with hands in certain Indian traditions such as Jainism. And today we are going to focus more on the Jain version of 5 sacred claps with hands. And before we start with the meditation technique, I would like to say a few words about the meaning of 5 sacred claps. So, as we know, each time when we touch our hands, there is some energy exchange between left hand and right hand. There is energy exchange, and there is also activation of various points. We can say that these are like minor chakras on the bottom tips of the nail beds, and what is even more important, there is a strong generalization of energy on both palm chakras. So, which palm chakras are one of the most important chakras in the body, and of course also the minor chakras on the fingers nail beds. They are also very important because they are source points, entry points of energy meridians that flow over the body. So each time when we clap with our hands, we energize, we activate those source points. Not only those source points, we also generate some type of energy. And so as you can see, 5 sacred claps are very beneficial to one's health because they energize our whole body, but they also generate special energy in our palm chakras. And palm chakras are one of the most important for energy in our body. So, how to make 5 claps even more sacred? Then we need to appreciate another aspect of clapping, and that is generalization of sound. So each time we clap, the sound is generated. We produce a sound. And as you know, either outer or inner sounds are important. But of course, inner sounds are much more important, and they are much more significant in terms of spirituality, religion, or yoga, whatever you wish to say. But even outer sound is important. And if you think about various bells, various Tibetan bowls, and various other musical instruments that generate a bit bell sounding or gamelan sounding sounds, they are often used to purify the area, purify the atmosphere, your own living space. But sound generated with claps is not only used to purify something, but to energize our whole aura, our energy bodies that cover ourselves. So, as you see, we are talking about purification and about creating extra positivity. And that extra positivity in terms of physical health, astral health, energy health, and if we add a bit of bhakti, even spiritual health, which is the most important. And this is when mantra enters. So in 5 sacred claps meditation technique, we won't just focus on the generalization of spiritual energy, purifying energy and similar energies, but we will also focus on bhakti, so or devotion. So we will make clapping with hands and spiritual technique. So we will a devotional practice, and one of the best ways to just use the original mantra that was originally used for 5 sacred claps technique, and that was Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha is a very, very old Jain mantra, which is relatively hard to understand. So we can perceive Arham as an oversoul, as an higher soul. We can understand Arham as a mantra that denotes Par Atman. So Par Atman, we can say like the highest soul, the highest oversoul, the most spiritual oversoul, or even something that is behind the threshold between personal soul and impersonal soul. But Arham is not only this. Arham is also creative force behind the oversoul. And not only this, Arham is also peaceful energy that is emanating from that oversoul, from that supersoul, or even so in this way, Arham covers both Par Atman and Par Brahman. So both creative and spiritual, and or purely spiritual consciousness. And that means that when we will clasp with our hands, we will try to practice this devotion towards the highest consciousness in Oversoul, in, let's say, the purely divine consciousness, which is not really connected with any materiality, with any material sphere. So let us make a few deep breaths before we start, and then we will start with the first claps. The first, let's say, few claps will be with, so we will open our hands, and then we will try to clap in between the area between the fingers. So we will clap in the space between the fingers. And at the same time, we will try to make it a devotional practice, and we will mentally chant a mantra Om Arham Namaha. So let's try. Om Arham Namaha. First clap in the place in between the fingers. And the second, Om Arham Namaha. With as much as devotion as we can do. And the third one, Om Arham Namaha. And twice more, Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. So after the first series of claps, we will do the second, and the second claps are clapping on the upper part of the inner palm. So the upper palm on the inner palm where the 4 fingers stem from. So we will clap only on that upper bit. So let's try. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. And with each clap, let us focus on all the chakras in the hands, on the generalization of a new energy field that is creative and purifying. And let us devote to the divine consciousness at the same time. And 3 more. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. So this was the second series. Now we are going to do the third series. The third series are claps with the lower bit of the palm, close to the wrist area. So let's again start to clap. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. And twice more. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. Now we have the fourth series. The fourth series are normal claps. Normal claps with hands, and of course this is a bit easier, so it should be even more focused on devotional side of mantra. So let's start. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. And in the fourth series, it is also very important to focus on listening on the sound of claps, on the sound that purifies the whole area and activates our mind. So let's also focus and listen to the sound in the fourth series. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. Now we have the fifth series, the last part. The last part is a bit special. So we just clasp our hands together, and then we will massage it on one side. We will press with fingers of one hand on the upper bit of the hand of another hand. So we will just massage it on one side with, let's say, first with right fingers, and then we will massage the right hand with left fingers. And at the same time we will say Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. And during fifth series we will try to imagine that all the meridians from the lower corners of nailbeds are activated, and that all our body, the physical body or energetical body, is influenced by this gentle or relatively strong massage with clasped hands. And 2 more. Om Arham Namaha. Om Arham Namaha. So this was the 5 claps technique. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you find it useful. Have a good time and see you soon.